Welcome to episode 165 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the tales of Odysseus and the story of Odysseus and Penelope. Euryclea hastened to Penelope's chamber, her knees almost failing her. Trembling, but happily she woke her sleeping mistress and said, "Penelope, now with your own eyes you shall see what you have been waiting for all these many years. Odysseus has come home, and he has killed the suitors who have harassed you and your son, and who have laid waste your stores." Penelope shook the sleep from her eyes and said, "Euryclea, the gods must have stricken you with madness. Why do you wake me with false news from the sweetest slumber I have ever had? I have not slept so well since Odysseus left for Troy. Had anyone but you come to tell me such a story, I should have sent her off with worse than angry words. And even you I spare only because of your great age. But now leave me and go down to the hall again." "There is no need to be angry," said Euryclea. "The stranger, the beggar whom they all scoffed at, it is he who is your husband. Your son Telemachus has known it for a long time, but he was told to keep it secret until vengeance had been taken on the suitors." Then Penelope started up from her couch and clung to the old woman tearfully. "If this is really the truth," she cried, "if Odysseus is really here in the palace, how could he alone cope with the mob of hostile men?" "I myself neither heard nor saw," Euryclea replied. "We women were herded into our quarters and locked in. But we caught the sound of groans, and when Telemachus finally called me, I saw your husband standing upright over a mass of corpses. But now all the bodies have been dragged out and are lying beyond the gates of the court, and the house has been purified with sulfur. You may go down without fear." I cannot believe it," Penelope repeated. "It must have been a god who slew the suitors. As for Odysseus, no, he is far from here, and he will never return." "You have a doubting heart," said Euryclea, shaking her head. "Well then, I shall tell you of a sure sign. Do you recall that time you told me to wash the beggar's feet? It was then. I touched the scar you know of, and I wanted to cry out to you, but he caught me by the throat and would not let me speak." "Let us go down," said Penelope, with hope and fear, and together they descended and crossed the threshold of the hall. Penelope uttered no word. Silently she seated herself opposite Odysseus in the full light of the hearth fire. He sat near a tall pillar and fixed his eyes on the ground, waiting for her to speak. But wonder and doubt closed her lips. One moment she thought she recognized him, the next he seemed a stranger, and all she saw was the beggar clothed in rags. At last Telemachus went up to his mother and said almost angrily, yet with a smile, "How can you sit there so coldly, mother? Go to our father, question him. What other woman whose husband returned after 20 years of hardship would act as you do? Have you a stone in your breast instead of a heart?" "Dear son," said Penelope, "I am lost in wonder. I cannot speak. I cannot question him. I cannot even look into his eyes. And yet if it is really Odysseus come back to this house, we shall recognize each other beyond all doubt, for we have secret signs which no one else knows of." Then Odysseus smiled gently and turned to his son. "Let your mother try me in her own fashion," he said. "She now scorns me because she sees me in these ugly rags. But I believe she can be convinced. But first, we must think of other matters. If a man kills another man of his people, he flees from his house and country, even if his victim has only one or two avengers. But we have slain the noblest young men of Ithaca and of the islands nearby. What shall we do?" "Father," said Telemachus, "you must decide this alone, for all the world regards you as the wisest in council." "Then I shall tell you what I consider best," said Odysseus. "You and the herdsman and everyone in the house shall bathe and put on your finest garments. The handmaids, too, shall adorn themselves. Then let Phemius pluck the lyre and play a tune for the dance. Whoever passes our house will think that feasting is still going on, and news of the suitor's death will not spread through the city until we have reached our farms in the country. Then a god will tell us what to do next." Soon after, the palace rang with music, singing, and merriment. The citizens gathered in the street and said to one another, "Penelope must have made her choice, and the wedding celebration is taking place. Fickle woman, why did she not wait a little longer? Perhaps her husband Odysseus would have returned." Toward evening, the crowd dispersed. In the meantime, Odysseus had bathed and anointed himself, and now again Athene shed beauty about him, and he rose from his bath like an immortal. When he had returned to the hall, he seated himself opposite his wife. "Strange woman," he said, "the gods must have given you an unfeeling heart. No other wife would so obstinately refuse to recognize her husband who came back to her after 20 years of suffering. I must turn to you, Euryclea, to prepare a couch for me, for this woman has a heart of iron." "It is neither pride nor scorn that keeps me from you," said Penelope. "I know quite well how Odysseus looked when he left Ithaca on a swift ship. Very well, Euryclea. Carry the couch from the bedchamber and heap it well with fleeces, cloaks, and coverlets." But this Penelope only said to try her husband. He, however, frowned and said, "Woman, these are bitter words that you have spoken. Who has set my bed elsewhere? No one in the world could move it, not if he were in the full strength of youth. I myself built it, and there is a secret connected with it. It is the middle of the place where we planned to build the palace. Grew a tall olive tree, straight and strong as a pillar. I let it stand, and had the room so arranged that it was inside our bedchamber. When the stone walls were up, I cut away the leafy branches of the tree, set in a ceiling of wood, and smoothed and carved the trunk. It formed one post of the couch, and the others were made to match it. Then the frame was inlaid with gold. Silver and ivory and thongs of oxhide were stretched from end to hold the fleeces and coverlets. This was our couch, Penelope. I do not know whether it still stands, but whoever moved it had to hew the trunk of the olive tree from its roots." When the queen heard these words, her knees shook. Weeping, she rose from her chair, ran to her husband, opened her arms to clasp him, and kissed his head many times. "Odysseus," she cried, "you have always been the wisest of men. Do not be angry with me for this. The deathless gods set us suffering because it would have been too much bliss for mortals to spend their youth in joy, and travel a smooth pace to old age. You must not hold it against me that I did not instantly welcome you. My heart was in constant fear that some deceiver might trick me. Now that you have spoken of what no one knows except you and me and old Actorus came here with me from my father's house, my doubt is dispelled, and I am wholly convinced." Through the night, husband and wife told each other all they had suffered in those 20 years, and Penelope had no rest until she had heard all of the wanderings of Odysseus. But at last they fell silent and went to their couch. Deep peace and quiet reigned throughout the palace. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales, many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.